Hi guys, I was having a tough time deciding on what I wanted to present on when I was looking back through the book, but I decided that goal orientation was the thing that I identified the most with and was looking back the most on. So this is what I decided to present on. So this is what I kept trying to identify myself with, trying to figure out what orientation I had. So a goal orientation is kind of what a student tells himself as to why they're doing something, as to what the point is, what their goal is. It's the way that they use to justify the actions that they're doing with regards to everything that they do in school. So there are three main kinds: learning orientation, which is the best kind. That's when students are doing something to get better. Performance or ego orientation, which is when somebody's trying to prove that they're good at something or hide that they're bad. Or task completion orientation was just, get it done, get the points, get a grade. So obviously we want the first one. So learning orientation, it'd be like a student who is asking a lot of questions, who you can see that they're really trying to master the material, they really want to grow, they really want to keep moving on with their material, and they really want to learn a lot. They're not just there to be there. So they really if somebody with a learning orientation is going to be asking a lot of questions, they're going to be really putting in the effort, they're really going to be trying as hard as they can. They are going to believe that effort leads to their success. And when they fail, they're not going to be, despondent. They're not going to be upset. They're going to realize that that's just a pathway towards success, that their failure is something that's good that they can build off of. Performance and ego is something that I almost considered was a lot of the way that I was like when I was a student, and a lot of the people who I went to school with. It's that they want to prove that they're the smartest, or they want to hide that they're not the smartest. So this is the kid who's constantly bragging about his grades, or is looking a little bit more self-conscious. So they're always kind of looking for the easy way out. If you say that it's a minimum of 3 pages, but they could do more, they're going to do exactly 3 pages, or maybe even a little bit short. They're always going to do the bare minimum. This is also me. I always did the bare minimum. My mom always gave me trouble for that. They're also going to be the ones who are going to cheat more often, because they want to make sure that they're getting the best grade. And if they think that they're not going to get the best grade, they're going to be looking off of other people's papers to make sure that they can get as much information as they can. They always want to do the best that they can, but not because they want to learn the best. For task completion, they're the ones who they always ask when it's due. They want to know exactly how much it's worth, how much it's going to affect their grade. And I mean, obviously everybody wants to know that, but these are the ones who that is what matters to them. They just want to finish it and get those points. They just want to get it over with. Everything that they're doing is they're just going to expend exactly as much effort as they need to just to get it done. They're not going to go that extra mile. They're just going to do what they need to pass. They don't really care about producing quality goods. They just want to produce what they need to produce. So if you tell them 3-page paper, they're not going to care about how good of a paper it is. They're just going to make sure that they finish a 3-page paper and have that turned in. They just want to finish it, get the points, move on. They just think that they're there to be told what to do. So it's really important with goal orientations and strategy 1 to make sure that you are setting out a clear and effective learning goal at the beginning, so that they know what to strive for, so that they're not just doing it for the points, that they know that there's a point, that they're moving towards something. For strategy 2, you want to give them strong and weak examples, so that a person maybe with the task completion orientation is going to look at a weak example and say, oh, this is kind of what I turned in last time when I was just trying to finish it. But they see that strong example and say, that might not be too hard. Maybe I can do that. Maybe I can succeed. For strategy 3, you want to be able to give them effective feedback to prove that they can be better. You can tell them that you did really well this time, but I don't think you put in as much effort as you could have. You could try harder. This is not the best work you could do. Let's keep trying harder. For strategy 4, self-assessment, you want to make sure that they aren't only assessing exactly how they did, but they're assessing at how they thought about it, how they really thought that they completed it. They're going to want to make sure that they know what their orientation is. For strategy 5, when you're trying to figure out what to do next, you need to examine what you think their goal orientation is, and you need to build their pathway to learning in order to accommodate that, in order to maybe turn that task completion or ego orientation back towards a learning orientation. When you're trying to get them to practice, you want to make sure that you're, especially for the task completion people, explaining to them that they don't need to practice just to practice. They're practicing because they need to get better at something. Same with the ego people. You need to show them that they don't have to be the best at the practice, that it's okay for their practice to be bad. For self-reflection, strategy 7, you want to make sure that they look back over that whole time and they can see their orientation changing. If they need to change it from task orientation to learning or ego to learning, you need to make sure that they can see that when they started working for the learning, that it was for their best. So in conclusion, goal orientation I think is exceptionally important to this, and they need to work really hard to make sure that you're getting towards that learning orientation, because that's the best course for students to be able to learn as best as they can.